Other than new creatures, there are no new cards in the deck, right? If I remember correctly, it's just the
Um,
creatures, right?
yeah, so we have the one MSA, one Archon, the Grief, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, okay. I couldn't remember if there was something else, but yeah, Reanimator got some heat this year.
Yeah, this matchup should be the way the Bomberman deck is configured. It should be very heavily Reanimator favored. Um, there, it looks like this. Like we don't see the numbers in the sideboard, but Tormod's Crypt and Grafdigger's Cage um, are generally going to be like too slow, and I'm sure that they don't have that in large quantities. Like it's probably not like two Tormod's Crypts and a Grafdigger's Cage. It's probably one and one for con targets.
Right.
Um, so that seems like it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I could actually see the sideboard. I'll tell you right now what's in there. I could see it unobfuscated. Yeah, so it's one crypt, one cage.
Yeah, that's certainly going to make it tough because
Um,
that's just not enough.
Bridge is a relevant card. That's a card target though. That's really slow.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, you really need fast disruption in this matchup for sure.
There are two containment priests though. That's something.
Yeah, that it could be good. I mean, again,
He has
it's
petals.
slow, but yeah, with the pedals, it could be good for sure.
Meekstone is also kind of gross.
I think if you Meatstone's coming down, like things are not going to look, especially because there's going to be sideboard, so wear tears are going to be in. So you get Crystal Brand
Yeah,
down, you draw 14, you find some stuff to do.
yeah,
But there are definitely cards that could matter. It's a kind of a tough ask for sure. Without any ley lines, without anything fast like that.
and does this card Faithful Absence do anything? I guess not really. No.
It can kill. It is decent against like Sarah's MSA because you're pretty incentivized. Like you're pretty incentivized to name artifact. Maybe you just name instant, but there's 3 Teferi Time Ravelers. This
Yeah,
bomb deck has enough random stuff in it because it also has Aether Spell Bomb, so like it has some
true.
play to it, but it's all a little bit slow in the face of what the Reanimator deck is doing these days. Because
Yeah,
this deck is just so lean and powerful and efficient.
yeah. I mean, we see here that Archon of Cruelty even got pitched to Unmask. Archon of Cruelty is like, if you get that out in Modern or something, you
Yeah,
won the game.
yeah, and here probably comes the big baddie himself because of land. Um, just so powerful. And I saw some questions in chat. There is the show and tell sideboard plan here. And yeah, you play Coffin Purge so you can entomb it in the mirror or against any graveyard decks because you can flashback.
Yeah, the Reanimator list that I was playing, I think I copied it from Landon, and it had silences in the sideboard, and that was fun.
Yeah,
That forced silence in the sideboard. I don't know if
yeah,
it's relevant to
definitely.
this matchup, but I was
Oh,
enjoying that.
for sure. This list still has Orange Chant. I don't know in one quantity, but I assume in relatively large ones. Orange Chant's very powerful for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Orums. There are 4 Orums chants.
Yeah, that makes sense.
4 Orums chants, 4 show and tells, 3 wear tears, and then ones of everything else.
But yeah,
Iona's now in the sideboard.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it makes sense. Sarah's everything is just like kind of more powerful, like as a hate card.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Kaplan has 2 emissaries too. I haven't seen that before. There's one in the main, one in the sideboard.
Yeah, I guess if you want to if it's so good in a matchup and you're like okay drawing it because it's not. I mean, I guess there is a benefit to having a second one so you could like name 2 different things, but kind of feels like you can win with anything at that point. Like that kind of implies to me that you have Crystal Plan going and you've drawn a bunch of cards. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, for the first time now, I'm able to see your camera big on my screen because I moved some things around, and I noticed your antlers.
oh yeah, oh
You
you
were
got,
too
you gotta
small before for me to see it.
you gotta pull out the elk ears. It's what the holidays is upon us.
Nice.
I spent all of last year becoming an Oko apologist. I really, really, you got to pull out the antlers when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think you won an event we had on stream last year with Oko, didn't you? Did that happen?
I did. Yes,
Yeah.
I won with the Is It deck splashing Oko.
Yeah.
I won a lot with Oko did nothing wrong as far as I'm concerned. You know.
He just wanted some food. That was it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna try to do a stream sometime in the next few days. Streaming Vintage Cube and playing as much Oko as I can. Get the Elkias going. I
Nice.
last year I streamed with Oko Legal in Legacy, but
Right, right, right.
it's fun. Yeah,
Ah, Oko, the good old days.
yeah, good old days. Oh, good lord.
We don't see any whining anymore about Uro. At least not to the extent that it was before. Uro is
Oh,
kind of
sure.
forgotten now.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard some people talk about like banning Oro along with Ragavan. I can't even list like when you list the cards you're gonna ban. It's got to be so low at this point. Like people have adapted to Oro. It's not keeping up with things in power. Power. I mean, Oro's absurd. I like Oro's not a particularly enjoyable card to play with, but or play against or even with, honestly. But I don't know. I feel like all the decks have gotten powerful enough to kind of manage it, and
Yeah.
it's also you just can't like. It's hard, you know. There's so many powerful cards these days. You can't just ban everything. I'm sure some people are like, "Oh, ban all the good cards from the past, 2 years and go back to Legacy the way it was in 2018." But I think it's largely better now, outside of some small hiccups.
Yeah. I mean, I just imagine just now someone come up to me on the street and just like put a microphone in my place and they're like, quick, 5 cards that have to be banned in Legacy, go. I wouldn't name Uro. Like, I wouldn't even think of it. I would
Yeah,
be like,
for sure.
but maybe if you asked most people like, a year ago, whatever, it would have been at the top of the list.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it cracked my top 5 either, for sure. And that just goes to show that things do change, and I
Yeah.
understand that people have problems with this format, and there are problems with the format. But like, people were saying you have to ban OO for so long, and then I remember when they banned OO in every other format but Legacy, and in Legacy they banned Arcanist, Astrolabe, and Oko, and it felt like OO was people kind of adapted to it. It is a slow card. It's a little exploitable.
Well, now we're seeing Meekstone out of the Karn board. What do you think?
Yeah,
What do you make of that?
that's really interesting. So I definitely think he had to do something this turn with the Karn. It didn't feel like he could just minus Karn and then get bridged instead of for next turn. So he had 2 mana remaining. What were his options here? He could have gotten Explosives does nothing, Crypt Cage, not good enough. Oh, actually, Cage is almost good enough, actually, because you get Cage, you get it down, you have your Thopter, then you chump block, you play the Cage, and your opponent can't reanimate anything anymore.
And then you slam bridge.
Yeah, and then you go for the bridge on the following turn. That actually sounds like it could be effective, because the problem with the Meekstone here is he gains the 7 life, he can just reanimate another Grizzlebrand.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem good enough to me.
Yeah, it seems a little iffy now that I'm thinking about it.
But that being said, looking at the deck lists.
Wait, can you liquid metal coating? Oh wait, no, that doesn't do anything. Never mind.
Yeah, not quite enough. Well, it does something because you can target the Grizzlebrand and then they can't pay 7 life to draw the cards. But
right.
All this being said, I actually think it might just barely be good enough, because there's no way for this Reanimator deck to win on the spot right now. So what you can do is, and the Archon of Cruelty is gone, so you know that you're not going to have to sacrifice a Planeswalker. Now, because you've survived the 1 turn with the Thopter, next turn you go for the bridge, you minus the con, you play the bridge, and that actually might be good enough.
All of this is dependent on Kaplan not having a wear in hand, though.
Well, this is game 1.
Oh shoot, you're right. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah,
we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because there's sideboard cards hitting the table because of
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I think there's a legitimate possibility that if the Bomberman player gets to untap with card, they'll just win the game by playing an inside bridge, and then this version of Reanimator doesn't have any way to get through that.
Right.
That's
Right.
that's actually pretty sick, if I'm honest. That's really cool. I would not have guessed that this would be the way to play out. Um, but I'm if that's the case, I'm pretty impressed. I think last time I was on stream, it was a Reanimator versus Madness, and Madness. Oh no, it was Show and Tell versus Madness. Kaplan was playing Madness, and somebody was playing Show and Tell, and like the Madness player almost turned one like out of nowhere and won the game
Oh
off like
right.
Alliance like
Yeah,
Iron.
that was a good stream actually. I remember that one.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of it's really cool to see like these kind of weird decks battle against decks like Show and Tell, like these Turbo Gristlebrand decks, in ways that they can actually like handle. Like this is an odd way to fight through it for sure, but it's looks like it's working. It
Yeah.
looks like it's working.
And um this isn't really a problem, but it's just something I notice is like Magic Online has much like you mentioned before, they have like these 24-person events.
Mm-hmm.
And probably most of the people are going to show up with decks like Delver. But I just love like local events, let's say like a 6-round 1K or something like that. And you'll
Yeah,
see top eights with decks like Bomberman. That one friend who always plays their pet deck and
yeah,
always wins with it and splits in the finals with some. That's just something I love about Magic. That I guess maybe since we haven't had paper Magic as much over the last 2 years, people kind of forgot about. Maybe
yeah.
is there something to that?
I completely agree. I love that that exists. It's the divide between paper and online, because online you see a lot of the grinders, you see a lot of like experts play the game, and as opposed to like, maybe not like experts at Magic as opposed to experts at Legacy or
Yeah,
enthusiasts about Legacy. You see people who are like excellent at Magic playing online all the time, but at your local 1K, you see a guy who just loves Legacy, plays the format all the time, and it's so cool that that exists. It's always this divide between what's like the real Legacy metagame, right? Because
yeah,
to me, like the real metagame is the one that's like being played at like the or the Delvers, and that's represented at the top of the format. But paper is like that's very real that people play the decks they love and the decks that are really exciting to them, and they just play them over and over again, and you just see like such diversity in these 1Ks. It's really cool. I love
yeah,
it. There's the thing that made me fall in love with Legacy for sure.
yeah,
You never know. You lose round one, and then you're in the Enchantress bracket, and it's like it's just
yeah, exactly.
that stuff's so cool.
And then the Enchantress person makes top eight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah,
and
for sure.
wins the whole thing.
Yeah, and even online, you do see it. Like, people like people just like win top eight with High Tide if their favorite deck. People top eight with whatever, and it's just so cool.
Yep. Yeah, occasionally you go to an event and it's like, oh, the food chain guy is here, so he's probably gonna make it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like the Cloud Post guy.
Yeah.
I love it. I really do. It's definitely one of the best parts of Legacy for sure.
Yeah.
So it looks like Bomberman won.
That's
They
incredible.
So I think they would have won with the bridge plan, but they had the ORX salvagers, they had the LED, they had to keep paying one for the Chancellor, so they couldn't generate infinite mana, but they could generate infinite Doctors with Scion play. Yeah, I there's losing your lands does kind of suck, but it does seem like it has it's a Pithing Needle Expedition map deck, so that's pretty cool, but. I'm not a card post expert. I'm not gonna.
And another thing that's been on my mind: do you regret not buying any Mariah Carey boosted packs?
The second you started opening that, I thought, you know what? I kind of do.
All right, we're underway here. I was just killing time. All right, so
Oh, and he drew the cage.
oh, nice.
This is really good.
That is really good.
If Kaplan has Entomb for shenanigans, that could start to get pretty problematic, which it kind of looks like that's what's coming up here.
Oh yeah.
But the cage at least slows them down a reasonable amount. The problem is the shenanigans is just going to like put the kibosh on your plan in general. But nevertheless, I think this could buy the Bomberman player the time they need to set up.
That's true.
because if they can get the Saga off, then they can get Tolmon's Crypt, and then that's going to answer to shenanigans as well as other things. So, um, oh,
Didn't
he did.
Dredge there.
He did bring in Show and Tell.
Ah, okay.
Interesting.
Is there
Okay.
anything bad that can happen to Kaplan here? I guess not.
With the shenanigans, maybe not.
Yeah. There's Gristlebrand. Okay. Maybe me and Dave think alike with Show and Tell.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good against the Graveyard Hate. It's pretty scary, honestly. Like against a deck like Bomberman. Like, imagine you just put in Oriox Salvagers and then you just LED and win.
Yeah.
Shenanigans isn't disrupting that. So show and tells can be risky. And as somebody mentioned in chat, one of the problems last game is that the Exhume returned the Psy, which is the reason the Bomberman player won that, because it gave the Thopter to jump block
yeah.
the Gristlebrand, and then it gave him the infinite Thopters to win the game on the spot. So
Right.
so it is risky. Here it worked out because he's just playing in Azorius Signet, but
The Signet feels. I'm not a Bomberman player, and I know there's probably going to be a YouTube comment explaining to me why, but the Signet feels so underpowered. Like, does that fit into these decks nicely, or is there? I feel like there has to be a better card.
So
Am I wrong?
you see Signet show up in like the Bomberman variants. Like there's a Magic Online player, Kanikan, I think their name is, and they always play like Gyruda Bomberman. So it's just like the entire deck is full of even cards, and Signet's just like decent mana ramp in that situation. I agree. In this deck, it does seem kind of underwhelming. I don't know. I think I'd rather be leaning into something else personally. But
Like,
maybe
I'd
maybe
almost
I'm
rather
wrong.
have Mind Stone or something. Like, you just crack it and draw a card, maybe.
When you have to ferry in your deck, Signet's definitely a lot better.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
But it is. Signet is just like kind of barely a legacy card.
There's Teferi. All right, so Signet looking excellent at the moment, actually.
Yeah, that's
as
not.
far as
It's really helping. Yeah, for sure.
It's looking like a good cube deck right now.
Yeah, for sure.
This is for all you cube players out there. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Get your Signet, cast your Teferi.
Oh, I love cube. My friend has a cube that we used to we played a few weeks ago, and it's just like Teferi's not in that cube. Teferi's just such a miserable card. It's so miserable. But I love cubing.
Yeah, me too. We'll have to IRL cube draft someday.
Oh, I would love to do that. Yeah. Take a trip down to the city. That sounds great.
Yeah. Or maybe I'll come out by you. We'll see.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, somebody was asking before in chat. We're both in New York, but we don't live nearby. I'm in New York City.
New York's just so huge.
Yeah.
We're like hours away from each other.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so now Archon is in the yard, so that stayed in. Teferi. I mean,
It's
miserable card or not, it looked good there.
It's definitely good, and I think it's of an appropriate power level in Legacy for sure. But
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think this is still a tumultuous situation. Dave has not dredged that shenanigans yet, which is really interesting.
Just doesn't have the red, I guess.
He's
Can't
drawn
fire it off.
so many cards.
Oh, there's red.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is he just going to hard cast a Gristlebrand here?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe he has Rare Tear or like another Show and Tell. Maybe he's just going to go for another Show and Tell.
Possibly.
Which again, that could definitely be a risky gambit. Okay. So this looks like Show and Tell because it's
He only used 1 mana. Oh no, he's got 3 mana. 3 mana.
Yeah. Wear Tear. That's pretty rough.
Oh, is it because he's entwining or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
Fuse?
Fuse, yeah. Okay, this is pretty tough. Bringing back that Archon is almost more powerful than Gristlebrand here because you get the Teferi off the board as well.
Right. I guess. Yeah, what is he gonna do with his other mana now? I'm like trying to figure out.
I'm assuming, and he drew 7 off the Grisselbrand. I assume
Yeah,
he's going to go for some kind of reanimation, but there's a lot of mana.
another dark ritual.
Yeah. Entomb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I mean, he has to be bringing back a creature. There's no other reason to fire off all these spells. He is at 9, I guess, or is that 6?
Oh yeah, I haven't been updating life totals. Whoops. Yeah, he's at 6.
Yeah, at 6 is a little rough because you can't cast reanimate, but you can if you bring back the Archon of Cruelty, gain the 3 life, then reanimate something else.
Right. I guess. Okay, let's see what he entombs here. All right, another Gristlebrand. Or a Gristlebrand. The other one's in hand.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't think Grisselbrand. I think Archon is actually a little bit better than Grisselbrand right now. But we'll see. Doesn't he still have some black mana in his pool? Like, I guess he's just doing this kind of whatever. Grisselbrand, okay. Animate dead, Archon. Okay, so he has the ability to do both.
Okay. I think Kaplan has this one now. I don't see
It's
how.
gonna be tough at this stage, especially with that shenanigans just hanging out in the graveyard.
Yeah, Teferi's also dead. I mean, how much mana do they need to combo? They need salvagers and an LED. That's what, 4?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it is possible that they could win. The Bomberman player could win next turn, which that's kind of the only chance now. If
Right.
if they get to untap again, then it's definitely going to be game, pretty much. He also lost 3 life off that, but he has something here.
5 mana.
Oh,
Oh.
he did it. Okay,
Wow. And the ballista's in the yard too.
and that'll do it. Okay, I will say this is was unexpected.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting a 2-0 victory for Bomberman, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Especially when Shenanigans was just hanging out and multiple Grisselbrands hit the battlefield. But I call me impressed. That's awesome. This is for all those who were voting, I'm sure this was an upset for the
Yeah,
for them.
looks like
but
it.
this was impressive. I was really happy with that.